Hello, welcome to into the problem. And then the problem is that it's 2 sine negative 20 degrees multiplied by sine 160 degrees minus cos 40 degrees. So we have to use a plan, and then the first step there is to determine the sine 20 degrees, coming to the second step, sine 160 degrees. And then we also have to break up the cos 40 degrees, giving us cos 40 degrees equal to cos 20 degrees plus 20 degrees, so making it 4 square degrees. And then 180 degrees, we'll have to use the cos rule there, which is the one on the right, and then that is sine negative 20 degrees will give us negative sine 20 degrees. So the second step there is sine 180 minus 20 degrees, so that's going to 180 minus the angle, taking us to second quad, which is sine is positive. So that will give us sine 20 degrees. So sine 160 degrees is equivalent to sine 20 degrees. So the next step we come to double angles. So that will be cos 20 degrees so that means we are breaking down the cos double angle, so which means 20 degrees plus 20, so cos 20 degrees plus cos 20 degrees to give us the double angle equation. Please remember to memorize this equation. So which means cos theta plus theta is going to be cos theta squared minus sine theta squared. So in this case, cos 20 degrees squared minus sine 20 degrees squared. Alright, so we're done with simplification. So the next step would be that now we have to rewrite the equation and put all the simplified part. Getting to the simplified part, we have to say, okay, we start with what we have that we didn't need to simplify. So sine negative 20 degrees will give us negative sine 20 degrees. Remember that if it was a cos negative angle, it's gonna give positive. So cos doesn't have negative angles. So the dot is multiplication there, so we have the sine 160 degrees equivalent to sine 20 degrees. Then the minus there will be minus, bracket. Then we have cos 20 degrees squared, which is the same as cos squared 20 degrees, minus we have sine squared 20 degrees. Okay, now so we simplify further, so that gives us step 4. So we move from step 4 to step 5. Now we have 2 times negative 1 gives us negative 2, and then sine 20 degrees squared times sine 20 degrees squared, sine 20 degrees multiplied by sine 20 degrees will give us sine squared 20 degrees. And then negative times cos squared 20 degrees will give us negative 20 degrees squared. Negative times negative, positive, and then that's going to be positive sine squared 20 degrees. So the next step there, we can see that we have the sine squared degrees there, like terms, and they can add up. So we have find that negative 2 squared 20 degrees plus 1 sine squared 20 degrees will give us negative sine squared degrees. Then that will be minus cos squared 20 degrees. Okay, so with the sine squared and cos squared takes us to the squared identity. So we have cos squared theta plus sine squared theta to give us 1. Then from there we can write sine in terms of cos squared theta instead of sine squared theta, and so forth. So my choice in this case was to be that let me dissolve the cos squared theta into sine squared theta. I could also do the same, dissolve sine into cos and then simplify. So cos squared cos 20 degrees squared will be equivalent to sine squared theta, or sine squared 20 degrees. So now I'll substitute, so which means I have to replace cos squared 20 degrees with 1 minus sine squared 20 degrees. Bracket, then I put the right value, which is 1 minus sine squared 20 degrees. So now we simplify further, taking us to step 6. Would be negative sine squared 20 degrees. We write as is. Then negative times 1 is going to be negative 1. Negative times negative giving us positive. So it's going to be positive sine squared 20 degrees. So we find that the negative sine squared degrees, they cancel with the positive. Okay, so this is your homework. You've got homework for 5.2, whereby it's cos 180 plus 80 degrees. So you'll have to use here. You'll have to use the cast. You have to use the cast one. Okay, this is the cast rule that you have to use. And then you have there, so this is double angle, because remember that cos, this is odd angle, so cos negative x, that will be positive. So cos is always positive, whether it's the angle is positive or negative, so cos will give a positive. Then you also use all of that, this cast rule, to solve the problem. So that one there, you'll have to be creative as well, because you have sine 10 and consider that equation, so show that you can write it as that. So this is your homework, so you're gonna work out all of these, and then I'll come back with the solutions on my next insight. So please subscribe and then find out how far we'll be. Thank you. All the best in your homework.